In Orlando, Florida, newlyweds Michael and Chantel Sides are a young couple making a start in life.
It was the beginning of the rest of our lives, and we wanted to start off fresh in a nice home and just go from there.
Getting married, having a child, new home, it's kind of like the whole package, so it felt great.
They found the perfect neighborhood to raise their new baby, Shania, and an ideal house to rent.
It's a family environment. It's in the suburbs. Kids play outside. The houses are spacious, and everything is just wonderful.
You can almost hear a sound sort of like a white noise, or like just a speaker being left on, like a very light hum. It was just periodically, like, it would come in and out, in and out.
My husband was telling me, "Do you hear this sound?" And I was thinking, no.
I look around inside, I don't see anything. I just kind of played it off as like maybe a noise coming from outside, or maybe another house.
One late afternoon, I was about to prepare lunch, and then I see a fly right by my head, zoom by.
But one fly doesn't explain the persistent humming.
I'm like, where is this coming from? It's starting to annoy me because I think I'm hearing things. Go outside, look around in the yard. Nothing jumps out. So now I think I'm losing my mind.
Weeks pass, and Michael can't figure out the source of the mysterious sound. But then Chantel makes a discovery.
I hear a buzzing sound. So I went into the living room to investigate, and I saw the fly. It is not a fly, it's a bee. And it's not one bee, it's like at least 20.
Chantel has a deadly allergy to bees. She was lucky to survive a sting as a child.
I'm so highly allergic to the bees. I knew that I can't go anywhere near them. I took Shania out of the high chair. I headed straight upstairs. This was my worst nightmare.
In Orlando, Florida, Chantel Sides' rental home has been buzzing for weeks. She has just discovered why.
I was completely terrified. of the whole situation.
Chantel has a potentially deadly bee allergy and is concerned her daughter Shania may have it too.
I don't even want to think what could happen to her.
There's another one. So I'm like, what's going on? At that point, I'm like, I got all of them. You know, where did it come from?
The windows are closed, but somehow the bees are still getting into their home.
A cable outlet that wasn't plugged in, and they were getting in, crawling up through that hole and going straight for the window.
Michael tapes the hole so that the bees are blocked from entering the house.
Now I can get back to my everyday life, and I'm happy, like, it's over. The problem is solved.
A few days later, I was upstairs, and I hear my wife, you know, shout out again, we have a serious problem.
There were so many bees, I can't even count. There was probably over like 500.
Traditionally, bees like to build their hive within the void of a tree, the hollow of a log or a cave. But if they're able to find a void within a home, they'll happily build there. A single hive can easily contain upwards of 80,000 bees, and hives built in walls have been known to hold well over 100 pounds of comb in it.
Michael contacts his landlord and arranges for a specialist bee remover to take a look. He makes a frightening discovery. There's a massive honeybee hive inside the walls of the house.
Now we have a serious problem.
It had to be thousands and thousands of bees living in my wall. I was scared for my life, I was scared for Shania's life, and I just knew that it was time to get out of this place because it was too much for me.
The young couple can't afford a hotel, and their landlord refuses to pay for one. They must spend the night in the infested house.
We figured our room was the safest spot, so we all kind of herded in for the night and waited it out till the next morning.
Michael answers the door, but it's not who he's expecting.
It's the owners of the house coming to take care of the problem.
To save money, the landlord has canceled the bee expert. He's going to do the job himself using regular pesticide.
Like, this guy's lost his mind. What is he doing? He has no idea what he's doing.
When bees come under attack, they release an alarm pheromone. Now, if you spray them with pesticide, very quickly you're going to trigger that alarm pheromone, and you're going to end up with 80,000 very angry bees.
Within moments, the pesticide stirs up a swarm. The yard is thick with angry bees as the colony leaves the poisoned hive.
It completely covered our yard and then halfway into the next door neighbor's yard.
It looked like a scene from a killer bee movie.
In Orlando, Florida, tens of thousands of honeybees are living inside the walls of Chantel and Michael Side's home. The landlord tries to tackle the infestation himself and unwittingly creates a life-threatening problem.
I knew that if one bee stung me, I could go into shock, but if 2 or 3 stung me, I would have no hope. I could stop breathing, and I could even die.
The family are now prisoners in their own home.
I just went around to all the doors and windows and made sure they were all closed, locked, to assure myself and my wife that we're indeed safe inside the house while the chaos was going on outside.
It takes 2 days, but eventually the swarm disperses. The landlord seals up the bees' entrance hole to prevent any others from getting in.
I'm so relieved that, okay, this might not have been taking place the way that I would like it to, but at least there's no longer bees congregating around my house.
My wife was making dinner. I remember looking down on the floor and, seeing a few grains of rice, and my wife saying, why are you spilling food? Pick it up.
And I look at Shania, and I'm thinking, there's rice grains by her, and I look, and it's a maggot. And I look around, and they're all maggots. This is so gross.
They're lined completely along the baseboard.
It was like at least 100.
We're like, what's going on? Where are they coming from?
A week ago, I just got rid of these bees that were terrifying me. And now it's like, when does it end?
This time, the landlord agrees to call in professionals. But this infestation isn't what the couple thought. They aren't maggots at all. They're hive beetle larvae, and they're living in the hives that are still inside the walls.
Hive beetles are a natural honeybee pest. They will lay eggs inside the comb, and when those eggs hatch, they'll eat right through the comb, through the pollen, the honey, and sometimes even into the baby bees. And when they come out, it's not uncommon for people to mistake them for maggots.
The abandoned hive has to go.
Turns out that there were 4 hives in the wall, about 4 feet long each. So they pretty much had to cut our wall open from ceiling to floor. It was amazing and disgusting all at once. One of the guys was like, I've been doing this for 25 years and I've never seen anything like this before.
Three weeks of work cost the landlord several $1,000s. But eventually, the hives are gone, and the house is repaired. Having endured a living nightmare for 2 months, Chantel and Michael's ordeal is over. Their house is finally infestation-free.
The queen can produce eggs at a rate of roughly 1,500 to 2,000 a day, more than her own body weight in eggs. The gestation period is only 21 days. Every day you have another 2,000 bees being born, and very quickly they can develop into extreme proportions. Key to successfully removing any colony is to find the queen and to remove her, and in addition to remove all the eggs and all the brood comb that she's created. If that happens, all of the other bees will leave the hive.
so much anxiety, anger, hatred. I wanted to kill the owners. We went out of our way to locate a safe bee removal company, and it's only gonna cost you a little bit of money to take care of the problem. And you feel like you don't need to go with that route?
The bee sting is actually a little barbed hypodermic needle. Once it's in your skin, it dislodges from the bee, and it leaves behind a little venom sac. The reason bees have been around for millions of years is because they've been able, as a single colony, as a single organism, to overcome much larger attackers. You can't think of a single insect, you have to think of the entire colony's ability to defend itself. You end up with 80,000 flying hypodermic needles that are tipped with a venom that's similar to rattlesnake poison.
I felt defeated. I was like, I'm not listening to this again. Like, I gotta go. And he's like, you know what, you're right. He's like, you take Shania and you get out of here and I'll let you know how everything goes. And I was like, okay.
Realizing the maggot-infested home is no place for a baby, the landlord pays for a hotel.
So Shania and I got our belongings, I put her in the car seat, and I went to the nearest hotel. And that's where I stayed.
We're always looking for a new and better bee to produce more and more honey. And so we import bees from other countries, and unfortunately, when we import those bees, we also import the pests. Hive beetles were first noticed in the US in the mid-90s, and they were accidentally brought over when we imported bees from sub-Saharan Africa. Now we find hive beetles in many US colonies.
The owners could have saved so much money. I don't even know how much money it cost to remove all of the wall, and the cost of us staying in the hotel